Hola, konnichiwa, turubem, como estas? Hello, what it do? Thank you for listening to another episode of the J-Boy Sports Podcast. What we're going to talk about today is a little message from Austin Rivers, right? Austin Rivers is one of the original Nepo babies of the NBA. And when I say that, I'm actually saying that kind of as a joke. Because in truthfulness, Austin Rivers was a really good player in high school. He was excellent in high school. He was good at Duke, pretty good at Duke. And he was good in the NBA. So anybody that has a father that played in the NBA, you're going to have some level of nepotism. And I actually plan to talk about that a little bit further in another segment at some point. But at least be nice, right? You got to actually be nice. You're going to benefit from it in some way. And hopefully anybody that has a father benefits from a level of nepotism. A good father, right? And I'm okay with that. But it's just the extreme versions where it's just outrageous. But in this case, everybody likes to call people like Austin Rivers a Nepo baby. But I don't believe that he is. So, Austin, if you ever listen to this video, I'm not bad-mouthing you, brother. I actually think you really were like that. And you really are like that. I've seen highlights of you going to LA Fitness and jacking people up right now to this day as we speak. So you are elite, my brother, and I respect that. But I heard you tell this story, and I liked it. Because it just talks about determination. And we're going to listen to him talk about the level that it takes to be great and be better. And your mindset and what mindset you need to have. So we're going to listen to what he has to say. And in his story, he's going to use Brandon Knight as an example. And for those of you that don't know Brandon Knight, listen, man. Brandon Knight, it was on the back end and the bad end of some serious highlights. He's the dude that Kyrie crossed up in the rookie-sophomore game. But nobody ever shows that he actually played pretty well in that game. He's also the dude that DeAndre Jordan dunked all over on that Chris Paul lob when they were back in Clipperland, with Lob City. He baptized him. It was pretty bad. It's one of the worst dunks I've ever seen in my life. Even though DeAndre Jordan is a big and Brandon Knight is a small, it was still just really bad. I don't know why he was even there. It was bad. But Brandon Knight was tough. People don't talk about that. He was super fast, very athletic, had a little jump shot. So, I mean, he was tough. It just didn't work out, I guess, the way he wanted it to. But he was tough. But let's listen to what Austin Rivers has to say, and then we'll come back and discuss it. But I really liked this clip.
My first time meeting Brandon Knight, for people who don't know, in high school was the number one player in high school. My AU coach got him on our team. I was like one of the top young players, too. Brandon was the top guy. They put us together. And every single road trip, every tournament, I already knew I wasn't going to room with my boy Pat or Caleb, all my friends. I knew I wasn't going to be rooming with them. I knew he was going to put me in the room with Brandon. At the time, I was just like, bro, I don't want to be in this room with him. This guy's like, you don't talk. He's so serious. But my coach was trying to get me to some of those things that he had to rub off on me. I'm sleeping. It's 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up, I was like, it's pitch black in the room. I go, Brandon? I go, Brandon? I get out of bed, go to put my feet down. My feet are on his back. My feet are on his back. And I go, whoa. He's in the middle of our beds, pumping out push-ups. The middle of the night, just sweating.
How old were you?
Bro, we were like 14, 15. I mean, about some menace shit, bro. I was like, Brandon, what are you doing? So I do this every night, every morning, early morning. I was like, bro, we don't get up. Our first game's at 8. He gets done with it. I'm assuming he's done with it. I was like, this guy goes out on the balcony because we're at a motel. Gets 2 basketballs out of his bag, starts doing 2-ball dribbling. I'm talking about pounding the shit out of this rock to the point where, like, I know he woke up every other room by us, like just crazy with it. But like, remember the Andy Garcia kid? Yeah. He went like that outside, just on the balcony, just patting the shit. I was like, holy shit. I remember thinking in my room, I was like, how can I ever be better than this guy if this guy outworks me every day? That's why he put me in the room with him.
And so you hear Austin Rivers talking about Brandon Knight, and in NBA, people might think, oh, Brandon Knight, he got dunked on, he got crossed. But like I said, Brandon Knight was nice, man. And I could only imagine trying to play against him in a regular league with normal people. I mean, he would have been a nightmare. I'm talking about blinding fast, super athletic with a jump shot. Like, I mean, things don't always work out in the league because there's so many politics and other things going on. He had some okay runs, but, man, watching him, he was tough. And in 2K, man, my friends were cheap with him. Ooh, boy, you would have thought he was Michael Jeffrey Jordan in 2K. Let me tell you. It was crazy how good he was in 2K. The year he was on the Suns, or however many years, one of my boys was definitely exploiting him, like, to the max. I wanted to throw controllers out the window. It was crazy. But he tells this story, and he talks about how his coach took him away from his friends and put him with this guy because he saw the level that he needed to get to in order to be better. And he was the number one kid in their class. And I'm not surprised by this, and it just seems like really smart coaching. People will say, oh, you know, Austin Rivers is a Nepo baby, but it doesn't sound like that here. It sounds like his coach recognized some talent and said, yo, you're going to push yourself no matter what. So he took him away from his friends. He put him with a dog. And I think that's what's important here, right? Like, I want people to understand by listening to this, and I'm sure this is what he wanted. Doing what's comfortable and easy is not always, in fact, it's never what's going to make you the best, right? With me taking on this channel, I'm making videos like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 videos a day. I don't put all 8 of them out all the time, but I have so much material that I'm actually behind, and that's what I want. I want to be able to get to my little studio and churn out as many videos as I can, right? Even when other people are having fun, I have friends. There's people that I love, people I want to talk to. But at the end of the day, you've got to hone it in and you've got to focus. And you've got to see who's on top and how do you become on top of them. Pause. No Diddy. All right? And that's what I really appreciate about the story. And it's pretty hilarious. I mean, he says he wakes up in the middle of the night. All he hears is, huh, huh, huh. And my first impulse was like, yo, no bad boy here, please. I hope. Where's this story going? But he said, I put my feet down and they're on his back. And I'm like, all right. So this guy's just doing random midnight push-ups or 3 o'clock in the morning push-ups, whatever time it was. And then he goes outside in the balcony and he's like dribbling. He's got a good rhythm. I mean, what does it take to be great? And somebody was good enough in Austin Rivers' life to say to him, like, yo, listen, it's not good enough. You're not good enough. You and your little friends cracking up, playing around, having a good time. There's people out there that are dead serious. And Austin Rivers, to that extent, is from he had money growing up, obviously. Obviously, he had money. He has money now. He has more money. He's always had money. He'll always have money. That's not the problem here. But if you want to be great and you want to see if basketball really matters to you, then he needed to be around somebody that was a dog and not his little friends. And I say little friends, no disrespect. I just say that because everybody has what your parents would call little friends when you're growing up. People that some of them they like, some of them they don't like. So they just call them little friends. And that's what happened to Austin Rivers here. He needed to be around a more serious guy to help take him to the next level. Somebody that he needed to compete against. Somebody who looked at it like, yo, I'm trying to kill you before you kill me. You need to have that level of toughness. But that's what's wrong with the league today. Who is that for these guys? I did a video, and if you haven't seen it, you will see it, about Zion Williamson, and he's done for the season. Who's around Zion doing push-ups at 4 o'clock in the morning, dribbling the basketball as hard as they can before the sun comes up? Who's that hungry around Zion? Who was his Brandon Knight? You know? These are the things that make or break people, that can change them into something amazing versus, you know, something that's really so-so. So I really thought this was a good story. I thought it was an interesting story. And I think that it's something that a lot of us could learn from, and something that I've realized a long time ago, but it's good to see other people or hear other people saying it as well. Sometimes you have to forego happiness In fact, a lot of times, not sometimes. As a man, forego happiness for greatness. And if not for greatness, for success. And whatever it is that you want to do. Right? It might even be if you're trying to get married or you're in a marriage and your marriage is struggling or whatever the case may be, you might have to forego some level of your own happiness to save your marriage. Are you man enough to do stuff like that? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So, with that said, thank you very much for listening to the J-Boy Sports Podcast. We appreciate you very much over here. Please like, share, and subscribe for other motivational videos like this one. Please feel free to share it with anybody. This is wholesome content. We're not doing anything too crazy over here. You can give it to a pastor at your church, and I'm sure he wouldn't be offended. A rabbi or an elder in your congregation, and I'm sure they'd be okay with it. I didn't say anything outrageous. So, like, share, and subscribe. Also, hold on towards the end of the video because I have some other suggested videos that you might be interested in. Thank you very much for your time. I'm very humble. Much love. That somehow you never get over